Hello, welcome to this week's forecast. We're going to kick off with Bitcoin. I also want to thank everybody for liking and sharing last week's video. It's very much appreciated. We'll kick off with crypto and then we'll move into FX and look at a trade of the week as well. Starting off with Bitcoin, there is a few levels that I do like to look at, but I just want to draw your attention to this structure where we have support, resistance, and it's just coming into resistance again. Also, we have that 31k level. Let me just highlight this, where we have resistance and resistance. We've sold off from here before and we sold off from here before. If we break on a daily and retest, then I would look for maybe a change in a bias to go higher, but at the moment we're below resistance, and that's what I'll be focusing on the lower time frame. So let's go down into the 4-hour time frame. And I also want to draw your attention to this structure. Just want to highlight it. Take this high, and I'm just taking in the rest of those highs, as many touches as possible. Resistance, 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 resistance here, and support. So if I'm looking for a bearish reaction from this level, I'm looking for more downside. I want this to be a deviation. I want to get back below this previous weekly high, and then we can protect our stop above here. We'll have protection from this structure, and this is where we'll enter on the previous weekly high stop, and then we'll target 28122. Let's take a look at Ethereum. On the daily time frame, it's been range bound. We have these range lows acting as support and these range highs acting as resistance. We still have a little bit more upside to go for a potential area to start looking for sells. We also have some structure that we can keep an eye on that may come in handy later on. Support, support, and resistance. If we can come up, get back below this level, then that's a potential sell, and we're just using the range highs as a potential entry and a higher time frame level. So yeah, a little bit more upside probably needed before I look at this. At the moment, Bitcoin has my attention over Ethereum, and yeah, we'll take Bitcoin first, and then if Ethereum does go that little bit higher, then we'll put it onto the watch list. Also want to take a look at BNB, just because we are at range highs. I want to see how this daily candle closes, because we have resistance here, resistance, 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 and resistance, and then these range lows acting as support. So if this is going to continue in the range, then we would expect another move to the downside. Let's see if there's anything clear on the H4. You can see we're staying below. As long as it stays below here, we could probably add in structure here, as many touches as possible. Let Monday unfold. See how Monday unfolds. If we do one more sweep of these highs, get back below, then this is where I would enter. That would be perfect in my eyes. Or if we get a continuation, we can use the weekly open Monday low and the break of the structure. So something like this. That's where we can get our entry. This is where we can put our stop, and we'll be targeting that previous weekly low, and then seeing if we can come the whole way down to previous monthly lows, and those are range lows. So keeping an eye on that. Also like the look of Link. I'm just waiting for this daily candle to close. Looks very, very bearish. We are above structure at the moment, but if we can get back below there, I may be interested in putting in some sell positions at the moment. But then if this is going to be a bigger deviation back below, looking for these range lows again. So I'm just seeing if this is a false breakout, and something that I would be interested in the lower time frames once the time comes to it. So these are the levels that I'm looking at. Range high, range low, deviation, back below. This is where we'll enter. This is where we'll target. So I may, as I said, put in a few test positions just to build in positions, and then once we get that confirmation, I'll go full size. If we go down into the H4, we can see that we've broke below that previous weekly high and weekly open. So if we get a retest of that, that's where I'll first put in a few initial entries, and nothing too big. And then if we can break below, that's where I'll add in the full position, just testing the waters here if we retest this previous weekly high. So that's really all I'm looking at on crypto. FX, we'll take a look at Aussie dollar. We'll go to the daily chart, getting a pullback today. Just because we're at support, we really want to be looking for selling opportunities. So if this high goes or this high goes, that'll be the perfect area to start loading up on sells again in my eyes. I do have a sell zone up around here, but that's for a swing trade if it does get up there. I'm not too sure it does. It's just taken into consideration this support here, resistance, resistance, resistance. And if we do somehow get the whole way back up here, that's a perfect place for me to look for a swing entry short. But let's take a look at where the previous weekly high comes in. If we can come up here, get back below, deviate, then that's where I'll be looking to sell Aussie dollar. Same with Kiwi, getting a pullback here early on Monday. First place would probably be this previous weekly midpoint, and then the second area would be previous weekly high. I'm bearish on this instrument, so if we can get a reaction from here or a reaction from here, I will be looking for continued selling coming into Kiwi, and we're just targeting current yearly lows at the moment. I'll take a look at pound as well, getting some strength here. We have this previous weekly high. If we can feel basically here, get back below, then we'll be looking for sales. It's been a little bit choppy for last week, so we've got a small weekly range, but if we can deviate this high, get back below, I will be looking for a sell. If you want more confirmation, just wait for that structure break to add more confidence and see if we can get involved with pound sales. EURUSD, we have previous weekly high that I'll be keeping an eye on. If we can get back below that, deviation back below, we can also keep an eye on this structure as well for added confluence, and we'll be looking for selling opportunity in EURUSD. So dollar CAD as well, previous weekly low, monthly open, buyer stepped in here, buyer stepped in here. If we could pull back, I'll be looking for buyers to step in again in around that 1.36 level. And that's really it. I don't want to be looking at any yen pairs, to be honest, and don't want to be looking at any dollar Swiss, just because Swiss franc's been quite strong. I'd rather pair it with what I'm looking at for a trade of the week is Aussie Swiss. I'm looking for this previous weekly high for a potential sell, and I'm looking at this previous weekly midpoint push up, and then look for some signs of weakness for continuation to the downside. We could probably use Monday's high as a pivot to get involved. We'll see where that ends up, but if we can come up, hit this level, deviate back below Monday's high, that'll give us a nice entry, that'll give us a place to put our stops, and we're looking for continued selling to come in Aussie Swiss. So that's just a quick look at what I'm looking at this week. Any trades will be posted in the Discord, and I hope you have a profitable week.